Test, test. Mic check, 1, 2.
Date is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. The time is now 7:32 p.m. Welcome to the work session for the Town of Forest Heights Mayor and Council. This meeting will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Noble,
Here.
Councilmember Little, Councilmember Kennedy, Councilmember Hines,
Present.
Councilmember Brownson,
Here.
Council President McDonald,
Here.
Mayor Lilly.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, we will have a moment of silence. Thank you. Next, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Next, we have the meeting minutes for February 19th, 2025. These meeting minutes were distributed in advance. Are there any changes or additions to the meeting minutes from February 19th, 2025? All right, hearing none. The minutes from February 19th, 2025 are approved as they are they are. Next, we'll move into the main agenda. And I will entertain a motion to approve the main agenda for tonight.
Second.
What would you like to make the main motion? I didn't make the motion. And just make sure your mic's on so those at home can hear you as well.
I make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
Is there a second?
A second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve tonight's main agenda. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. All right, next we will have the swearing in of our new Ethics Commissioner, Ms. Tashi Brown. Ms. Brown, please come forward. For those who didn't attend our last meeting, Ms. Brown was voted in by the council as a new member of the Ethics Commission, which had a vacancy. Would you like your friend to hold the Bible? Or would you like Ms. Chisholm, our clerk? You're sure? Okay. Okay, and the way this is gonna work, you're gonna stand where she is. And you'll place your right hand on the Bible. And raise the other left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. So you're gonna come outside. And
Oh.
you'll consider other side. Perfect, excellent, excellent. Okay. I state your name. Do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland and support the Constitution and laws thereof. And that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Ethics Commissioner in the town of Forest Heights, according to the Constitution and laws of the state. Congratulations. Now we're gonna take a, well, actually, we're gonna sign it.
That was real quick too. Uh-oh.
All right, we want to congratulate Ms. Brown again for being sworn in as our new Ethics Commissioner. Next, we will have National Women's Month Proclamation. This is the proclamation for Women's History Month, which states, whereas Women's History Month is an annual celebration in the month of March that highlights the contributions of women throughout history, recognizing their pivotal role in shaping society, culture, politics, science, and every facet of human progress. And whereas women have been at the forefront of movements for equality, justice, and social change, continually breaking barriers and challenging societal norms to achieve progress for all. And whereas Women's History Month serves as an opportunity to acknowledge and honor the achievements and accomplishments of women across all sectors, from the arts to science, education, business, government, and beyond. And whereas it is essential to recognize the enduring impact that women have made in advancing our collective history, while also striving to create an environment where future generations of women can continue to thrive, succeed, and lead in every field. And whereas what began as a week-long celebration initiated by educators to increase awareness of women's contributions to society, and in 1980 was declared National Women's History Week by former President Jimmy Carter, and became a month-long celebration after Congress passed a resolution designating March as Women's History Month. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Forest Heights hereby proclaims the month of March as Women's History Month, encouraging all members, employees, and citizens to honor the diversity and important contributions of women, past and present, and to continue to strive for equality, empowerment, and inclusion for all women everywhere. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall serve as a call to action for ongoing efforts to celebrate, support, and uplift women in every sphere of life, ensuring that their history is not just acknowledged during Women's History Month, but recognized and celebrated throughout the year. As we continue to evolve as a community, may we embody this quote of our 39th president. Too often the women were unsung, and sometimes their contributions went unnoticed. But the achievements, leadership, courage, strength, and love of the women who built America was as vital as that of the men whose names we know so well. And in addition to reading the proclamation, we'd just like to recognize the majority woman council that now serves the town of Forest Heights, its residents, and its staff. I believe next we have, what is the next item? My computer logged out. Is it reports? Okay, next we will have the mayor and council members' reports, and we will begin with Ward 1. I'll go first to give you a moment, Council President, to Council Member Little.
Good evening. I have nothing to report. It's not.
You pass that to me. Thank you. Okay. Are you ready, Council? Okay, next we'll go to Ward 2, and we'll begin with Council Member Brownson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My report will be about I had some complaints from residents that the newsletter is being put in their US Post Office box, which is illegal. And they are complaining that they don't trust the people going into their mailbox unless they are postal workers. So they are complaining about that. And I also want to report that the growing season for the community garden started as of March 1st. And it will go through December the 15th in coordination with the Maryland Park and Planning and guidelines. We do have bids that are available. They are $50 each for the entire season. So if you would like to rent a bed at our community garden, you can call the town at 301-839-1030 and ask and leave a message, and we'll get back with you as far as the guidelines and you can book your bed. And I thought at one time that we said that the treasurer was going to give us some routine monthly reports, but I haven't received any reports as far as the budget versus actual or the cash distribution reports for the month of February or January. So if those are available, maybe put them on board docs, but I think we can send them directly to the council so we can look those over. So we were at Forest Heights Elementary last week, and they said that during the summer they may be closed because they're going to have their roof replaced. So I don't know how that's going to impact the residents in town, but they said that the Forest Heights Elementary might be closed during the summer. And I know you were thinking about having. I know that usually the residents' children get free lunch there sometimes, so that's going to be an impact on the town. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. We don't have Councilmember Kennedy tonight, correct? Okay. We'll go back to Council President McDonald for Ward 1.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have a whole lot to report out except for items that we know are coming up. For example, the ribbon cutting ceremony for the reopening of the Bell Acres Park, and also the event that we attended. There was a seeding event that we attended. I just want to share this because it was so so soulful to me. And I say that because we were actually in the midst of this dirt at this event. And I tell you, it was so intentional for me. I tell you, it was really good. So I just wanted to share that. We're going to have some more to Council Brownson's share about the community garden and all of the wonderful things that we're looking forward to happening this season. Please join us. The information, as Council Brownson said, will be in the newsletter. And I'm reiterating that because we want people to actually come out and participate and join us. We have a good time. We sow, we plant, we sow, we water, and we harvest, and we have a good time. So come out. Also, I will be attending the national community planning. Prince George's County has a community planning session that I'll be attending. That starts, it's going to be every Wednesday. So just sharing that because it's going to be probably somewhat of a little bit of conflict, but I think I should be okay with the business meeting. So just wanted to share that as well. Also, our youth rides will be coming up as well. So look for those in the newsletter. I host, council host, and participate in youth rides that'll be coming up starting the end of April. So every fourth Saturday, I think it's the third or fourth Saturday. I have to make sure I get that date right, but it'll be right in the newsletter that we host a youth ride. And that youth ride will start now at Bell Acres Park. Now that Bell Acres Park is done and we can get on the road. So thank you. The trail, I said it right, but the trail. Yes, the trail. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Council President McDonald. Next, we will go to Ward 3. And we're going to go to Councilmember Hines and then Councilmember Noble.
Good evening. I'm going to first start off with saying congratulations to the police department for the 40,000. Congratulations. And I know it's a lot. You got this all under control. And just really happy that you got it. Congratulations. Next, I would like to talk about the maps, the map of Forest Heights. That, is there a way that we can get this revised? I don't know when the last time that the map was updated, but it's very confusing and I know that we've added some more. So is that something that we can look into? Yes. No. Okay.
To your question, ward map or just a map of the entire, the ward map for voting?
Annex and I was really confused. I'm really confused. Is it something that can be done or it can be looked at?
It can be looked at. It's probably something that will be done once we hire a full-time town administrator.
Okay.
And an updated map of the new boundaries of the town. They tend to be two separate things because there's only currently people voting in the residential areas, which is still similar bounds that we've had for many years. So they would be likely two separate maps. Because that didn't change, right? But this is something that the new town administrator will be tasked with helping us to update and put out. It might even be nice to make an interactive map so that people can put in their address and they can see exactly what ward they're in, who their council members are, and because it's kind of hard to look on that on the line and see if you're on the green or the other side. We want to bring it up to 21st century, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for the suggestion.
Okay, next, I would really like to know if the mayor and the council would be interested in, we have defibrillators in the building and we were, asked if we wanted to, learn about them or CPR to be certified. If any of the council would be interested in maybe getting that course, it'd be a two session course. And Chief, if you can just kind of, talk about it just a little bit, please. Thanks.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. So we do have an instructor that we normally partner with the police department because we have to get ours recertified every year. So we partner with Oxon Hill Volunteer Fire Department, and they have an instructor. So what we would need is if you will have a specific date, we do the training right here in this room, and you will get a CPR first aid card. And you'll get training on the defibrillators that we have in the town. So all I need is a date.
And would any of the council be interested?
I'd be interested. Yeah, but let's look at it between this meeting and next.
Could it be the town, and, something with the town residents also?
So we can make it a town-wide event. So what I would do is I will speak with the instructor. And I don't know the ratio that she is able to instruct. So let me get back with her and see what's the amount that she can do. And she may bring other instructors with her, so we can make it larger. So I can get back to you by tomorrow, close the business.
Thank you. And one last thing, I harp on this about the signs, maybe, when the fiscal year ends or the budget, we can talk about signs because I'm still getting residents, they're thanking us that we did, put the signs up, but they're laying down, they're small, you have to stop, they're getting beat, so if we can maybe put it into the budget, some type of way that we get bigger signs or, something. Okay. That's my suggestion. And that'll be it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Hines. Next, we'll go to Councilmember Noble.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hodge, you forgot something, right? Okay, go back to her, please. No, you talk about it. Okay, Ward 3 had a meet and greet last Sunday. And the mayor attended. We had person from other wards, but it was okay because it's a community event. So we just talked and listened to some of the concerns and addressed some of the concerns. And we did get one volunteer for the newsletter, and we're going to hold that person to it because her mother sits up here. Okay. And I think that was about it. So it lasted a couple of hours, one last Sunday. For me, I want to remind our residents, our students, that now is the time to look at our Senator C. Anthony Muse. This is District 26, and our delegates' websites for those scholarship opportunities, because the application starts shortly, and you want to be a part of that pool of funding. And also, I don't think there's a grade it's a grade GPA, but it's not that great a stretch. So if you're in school and you want to further your education, then now's the opportunity. Also, District 8 still has funding for Prince George Community College, so I want to emphasize that. Also, I want to push. I was at the Oxon Hill library. And with budget cuts coming, we have to utilize our library because it could very well be on the chopping block. They emphasize checking out books on a regular. Reading them will be nice, but you don't have to. But when the report goes back to the state, we want them to see that we use our library. So they count footage and all that. So we want to go to the library, we want to check out books, we want to turn them back in on time and all of those things. Virtual is good, but sometimes you have to physically go to the library for it to matter. So if we all could just do that, I would appreciate it, and the library would too. I attended the Prince George's State Attorney Municipal Retreat. retreat that was at the library, And, Chief, oh no, that was the town that got a certificate. So it'll be up on the wall somewhere. Yes. And, what else? I also attended Opportunity Summit at the Capitol with, Mr. Davis and one of the senators for Black History Month. That was last month. I want to recognize Sue E. McGinnis. And this is just my short version of Sue E. McGinnis. Sue E. McGinnis was the first African-American woman mayor of the town of Forsyth Heights. That's Forsyth Heights history. And when Sue left office, she would always say, Paula, I want you to do my eulogy. I said, I can't do it. But now, as I'm older, I understand the importance of repeating her name over and over because I don't want her to get lost in the history of the town. So Sue E. McGinnis, I'm doing what you've asked me to do. And also I want to recognize Gloria Lawler, our Senator, Secretary of Aging, as a great leader for District 26. I'm saying a lot tonight. See, when I write it down, look out. So this month we had Dementia Friendly America South County meeting, the second Wednesday, which will be March 12th at 6:30, and that's virtual. We also partner with Forsyth Heights Police, Dementia Friendly America. We're having our first self-defense class for seniors on March 29th here at 11 a.m. And the chief and I talked about promoting Neighborhood Watch again. So we may do that an hour before the self-defense, but should be in the newsletter. And I think that covers all of my news for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. And if I could share on the screen, I'll bring my report up. Just a moment. Okay, this is a report for March 3rd, 2025. The most important thing I want to remind residents and staff and council about tonight is that our election for the town of Forsyth Heights will happen next Wednesday, March the 12th. It's going to be here at the municipal building from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we are electing in the office of mayor and council seats for Ward 1, Ward 2, and Ward 3. So we encourage everyone, tell your neighbors, make a reminder on your phone, look at the signs that are around town as reminders that on Wednesday, March 12th, we'll be conducting elections here in the town of Forsyth Heights. So come out and let your voice be heard and participate in shaping the direction of our town going forward. Since our last meeting, the mayor and council concluded their first round interviews for the town administrator opening. And so now we're moving into the second round of interviews, and we're looking at scheduling the second round interviews for March the 10th. That would be next Monday. That meeting, once confirmed with the candidates, will be sent out. And after the round 2 interviews, then we'll be looking to select a candidate for appointment as permanent town administrator. Since our last meeting, I was able to participate in a meeting with the Prince George's County Park and Planning Commission. This was focused on planning and placemaking. We talked about, some members of the community may know that recently the Oxen Cove Trail, which runs in front of Oxen Run and then feeds into Potomac River, that trail and bridge was replaced and repaved by the National Park Service. But the trail that goes the opposite way towards Forest Heights Elementary and Eastover Shopping Center is kind of deteriorated over the years. So I found out in that meeting that the county's parking planning plans to replace the bridge and repave the trail going in the opposite direction as well. So their goal is to complete the entire trail network so that you can ride from the DC border all the way through Forest Heights, past Oxen Run, across the bridge, across 495, down National Harbor into Alexandria, or further down the Potomac Heritage Trail towards Fort Washington and Akakeek. So we're really seeing a lot of progress and a lot of coordination of all the different entities to reconnect the pedestrian infrastructure in Forest Heights. So that's been a long-term effort before many of us were on the days. So we're happy to see that. Next steps are none. The next steps are, they're going to take care of that part. The other thing that I'll mention is in that meeting, we had a lot of people come together and we've identified that there's placemaking opportunities for Forest Heights. A lot of times when we tell people about our town, they say, well, where does it end? Where does it begin? Which side is in the town? Which side is not? Well, we have an opportunity with our community gathering space to consider applying for a placemaking project that would allow us to combine some elements of art, signage, and artistic activation that will show people with pride when they're in Forest Heights, and also create a place that showcases that pride all the time and starts to build a brand of Forest Heights, what we're about and where we stand. So we'll continue to bring information back. That was just a preliminary meeting so far, but we're going to bring some representatives from the planning board or from parking planning to the meeting to help talk to council, inform the community, and gather some feedback about next steps. I was able to attend a parent support workshop that occurred at Forest Heights Elementary last week. And at that event, they were actually working with some of the parents in the community on English language classes. And they served food and they talked through some of the ways that their community school supports parents and families so the kids can get as educated as possible and families have the support they need for kids to thrive. Potomac High School had a Black History event within the last week as well. And I was able to go over, and it was pretty early, but I was able to go over and join them for that. They had a guest speaker, which was Muhammad Ali's second wife, Khalila Ali. And we also had one of our town residents, Leah Swindler, who's in that center picture. She lives in Forest Heights and has, since she was born and raised with the Forest Heights Elementary. She also now is a teacher at Potomac High School. And so she was able to connect us with some of the pictures from the event. Also, the wrestling team looks like they were state champions last year. And they actually had one of their female wrestlers who was able to get a designation or get recognized in the state. It was almost the first of its kind. So there was a lot of pride, a lot of enthusiasm and motivation from that event. So really want to congratulate the students at Potomac High School and also the leadership who are working a lot more with Forest Heights to connect us to our youth. In the town of Edmonston, I should have this picture up here, but I don't have it. They celebrated their centennial last year. They had a dinner last week that I was able to attend, but their town administrator let us know about a program called America in Bloom. America in Bloom is a program that evaluates and makes recommendations for communities to improve or to expand their landscaping and beautification efforts in public areas, business areas, residential areas, and also churches. So this is a program that we can join, and they'll actually send experts to the town to do a tour and walk through and evaluate where we are and then make recommendations for how we can increase what we do. And it's a community effort. So it would involve gathering some people from the community to partake and help with the project. And then as a community, we can make some decisions about what areas we'd like to act on or what things we'd like to plant. And I also got an email recently that from time to time throughout the year, they actually have plants and shrubs and other items that get donated from some of their partners. So I think that we have really been talking about beautification, and we want to make this a green town and also some other colors to sprout. So hope to bring America in Bloom on board and to start participating in that. The The deadline for the If I Were Mayor contest for fourth graders is coming up on this Friday. We were able to go over to Forest Heights Elementary, do a presentation in front of some of the fourth graders. And so I think we're going to have some really good submissions this year from Forest Heights. The winner is chosen statewide. They actually choose two winners. They're chosen statewide, and they get to go to the governor's, not his mansion, but they go to the state house. They meet the governor. They get a governor citation, and they also get a cash prize. So we're looking forward to some great essays from Forest Heights. Hopefully we'll have a winner. And I think Councilmember Noble is one of the folks who's reviewing the submissions.
Yes. And I'll take any volunteers who would like to read. I can send it back to you. It's an hour or two of your time during the day. It's virtual. Mhm. Thank
Yeah,
you.
if there's any members,
Volunteers.
if there's any council members who'd like to participate in reading the essays, Councilmember Noble has more information through Maryland Municipal League.
That's March 13th, the reading.
The
Just
reading is
one day.
March 13th.
Just do one day reading.
Okay. To the Councilmember Noble's point earlier, myself, and Chief Reese attended the municipal retreat with the state's attorney's office. I was at Oxon Hill Library, and that's just a picture of the certificate, which will be displayed in the town hall at a later time. And we just want to thank our police department, Chief Reese, and the rest of the folks that work with them, because they do an awesome job and they stand out amongst the county. When I go to different cities and towns and even other places, I always hear good things about our innovative chief and our department. So we just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
The Ward 3 meet and greet was brought up, so I won't belabor that point. We did get an action item out of that meeting, though, which was one of the residents mentioned that there was a speed bump that used to be on Onondaga Drive that was removed because it was damaged during snowplow some years back. So we need to figure out cost and timeline for getting that reinstalled since it was already approved. There's been a number of water main breaks, water pipe leaks, and street repairs. So we wanted residents to know that our staff is coordinating with WSSC to ensure those affected areas that have temporary patches get permanently repaved. And on the issue of leaking pipes, I had a conversation earlier and I found out that leaking pipes are lower in priority to main breaks. So main breaks get fixed pretty quickly. The leaking pipes take a little longer to fix, but we have one at Seneca and Rolfe that we are tracking, and it's on WSSC's schedule to be repaired. And just a brief reminder of upcoming meetings and events. The ribbon cutting meeting, we're having a ribbon cutting on April 26th about the bridge reinstallation at the Oxon Hill Coven Trail, but we'll be having a meeting internally with staff, with the National Park Service, to start planning out that event. So we get the flyer out and the information out to the residents. Then Maryland Mayors Association Winter Conference, I'll be there this week, Thursday and Friday. And we got a confirmation on the date for the mayor and council to visit the MGM casino and site on March the 17th at 11 a.m. So that's a Monday, March 17th, 11 a.m. We'll be there to meet. And that concludes my report for this month. Yes.
The ribbon cutting meeting is gonna be.
The ribbon cutting
For
meeting is
the-
going to be this week, but it's not going to be in Annapolis. That's just
Okay,
a
I'm like,
typo.
wait a minute, are we gonna be?
No, it's going to be a virtual meeting this week. Actually, it's tomorrow.
Okay.
It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
The fifth.
Yeah. And now I just need to stop sharing. Okay, that concludes reports for this meeting. Next, we will move into public period. Public period is a time when members of the public can speak and provide comment to the mayor and council. We may be able to answer questions if questions are posed. Oh, just one moment. Councilmember Brownson.
About your report, you had a lot of data in there.
Yeah.
So is that gonna be, a report like the other department reports, or will it be in the minutes? Because there's a lot of information for the public. So how is that information going to get out to the public in some form?
We'll
other
do
than
board
the meeting?
docs. We'll put it on board docs. That way it can be archived. And then I think we're going to find a way to get everything that's put on board docs, get a link on the website so we can link easily from there as well. For council, I can send out the report afterwards so you can review and go back and see what's in there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. As I was stating just a moment ago, public period is for residents or members of the public to provide public comment. We may be able to answer questions during that time. If not, we'll have an appropriate official or department head follow up within usually 48 hours. Is there anyone who wishes to speak during public period at this time? And if so, we would just ask that you state your name and your address, and you are authorized to have 2 minutes to speak during the meeting tonight. Okay, I'm looking in the chat. I don't see any requests or hands raised to speak. Anyone inside the audience tonight? No. All right, hearing none, public period is now closed. Next, we will move to resolutions. And the first resolution for discussion this evening is Resolution 04-25. This is a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, to authorize the investment of certain rainy day funds of the general fund and other non-lapsing reserve funds into two accounts of the Maryland Local Government Investment Pool. And I believe we're coming back with some updates, so we're not looking to vote on this item tonight, but we do have it here for discussion. Mr. Frankenfield is on. I'll let him just provide any updates about information on this item since last meeting.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Good evening, council. As an update on where this stands, over the last 2 weeks, I talked to our rep from TD Bank and said, asked for other interest-producing products that the town could generate revenues. The rep came back and said the town had an agreement in place that approximately 2 to 3 years ago, when the town was much more liquid, had much more significant reserves, TD Bank and the town entered into an agreement that the interest rate that it's paying on cash deposits, which is 0.35%, would offset the banking fees of the town. So since I've been involved with the town has never been charged any banking fees from TD Bank. And it was some months it produced an interest credit on the statement. So the rep agreed that he's going to change our rate of deposit to 3.5% interest. However, in exchange for that interest rate, then the town is now going to be charged banking fees for its services, the insurance, the things that we talked about. I'm going to review all that as we move forward. The mayor and I talked about shopping other banks. The rep kept bringing up, hey, if you're going to pay the fees, it's about $1,000 a month in banking fees. And I think we can get a better deal than that out in the market. So just bringing you up to speed on the latest conversations that we've had, Mr. Best, as an update on this initial legislation, Mr. Best started an email thread with the state's investment banker, because the product that we introduced with this legislation, the MGLIP pool, we had a lot of conversations about risk last meeting. The state chief investment officer pretty much mirrored what I had said, that, hey, no investment is without risk, so there will be some risk. The securities we're offering with the MGLIP product are T-bills and treasury bills. So essentially what that means is the federal government has to go bankrupt for the product to go bankrupt. Again, that doesn't mean that the product is without risk, but it does mean that the opportunity is there for the town to lose should any of those events occur. So I'll stop there. I still recommend the MGLIP product. I still think it's a safe and effective way for the town to generate interest income. And I'll continue having these conversations with TD Bank about the fees and the interest offset to make sure we're not paying more than what we can get out there in the market. So I'll stop there and field any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield. Yes, we have a question from Councilmember Noble.
thank you, for your review of what's available. On the TD Bank service fees at $1,000 a month, what service fees would the town encounter?
So that's their assumption is based on the suite of services that we have, our fees should be $1,000 a month. So we've got to generate enough interest income to offset that $1,000 a month. I think $1,000 a month is pretty significant. So I want to see how this all plays out and see what they actually charge us. But depending on how what the truth is from that whole scenario, I might recommend other banks depending on what we can get TD Bank to offer as far as their fee structure.
Okay, because if you recommend other banks, then we would be moving the funds out of TD to those other banks to accommodate the savings or interest that we will receive. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically to save on the fees. To me, the $1,000 in fees is pretty significant, so I think there's a better product out there.
Last question. This is a TD Bank rep.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we have a corporate banker who handles our inquiries. So I think that's who he got the information from. Mark. Councilmember Brownson.
I have a question. So we use TD Bank now for all our banking business for the town, correct?
Correct.
So what are we paying now in banking fees?
So now, up until this latest conversation, our banking fees were zero because they were offset by the current contract, which was the town had X amount of cash and the interest. We didn't earn interest, but we didn't pay fees. So that was our current deal.
Right, so what's wrong with keeping that as it is?
I don't think that $1,000 in fees is the right price. So I think there's a better product out there. So I think we can still earn interest. And even if we do pay banking fees, I just don't think that $1,000 is competitive with what's out there in the market.
So you're saying that even though we don't pay the $1,000, we're getting 3.5% interest. We're not getting any
No, that was a 0.3. That was 0.35.
0.35% interest, and they don't balance each other out.
Correct. I'm saying that I think we could still get 3.5% interest, 4% interest out there in the market and not pay banking fees is what I think the best deal for the town is, but still need to find other options if TD Bank won't give it to us.
And you are saying 3.5%, not what they're
Correct.
saying 0.35. So you take the
Correct.
percent and move it 2 points. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield. So on this,
Mr. Mayor, I had a question.
Mr. Best, sure.
Todd, can you give me the date of the contract, the resolution that approved it with TD Bank? You happen to know?
I don't know, but I can research with the rep under, he referenced 2 to 3 years ago.
2 to 3
Um,
years.
Yeah, but I'm not certain on a date or the resolution date. No, I'm not certain on the legislation date.
Right, if you could follow up with me, I'd be appreciated. I'm looking for it in my files. I'm locating it readily.
Okay.
Thank you.
We would like.
So I think the clerk will assist us with finding the resolution, and if so, we'll send it and distribute it.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll look into it and get it out to everyone as soon as I can get my hands on it.
Thank you, Ms. Chisholm. Council President McDonald.
No.
Oh, Councilmember Noble.
Thank you. What may help move that along is checking with the bank to find out the date the account was open. And then you can correlate the resolution with that, because I remember that the town did business with Bank of America's or Wells Fargo. I know Bank of America at one time, then Wells Fargo. So they changed to TD Bank. If anything occurred, then check the date the account was open. Thank you. That may make it easier for you to search.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. Council President McDonald.
Yes, Mr. Frankenville, this is another question. I guess it's a follow-up to Council Member Brownson regarding the actuals versus budget reports that we were getting and trying to get I guess the updated reports, because we haven't seen one since, is it January, February? I think December, January, February. Yeah. You've been consistent with sending out the report, so we noticed that there's been a gap. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, and to respond to that, I think we've been following the charter. So the charter requires a balance sheet and budget versus actual on the quarters. So I was confused by that request. So, but we could talk about that offline, but so next.
So for the monthly report, what council wants to see is just a budget and actual every month and cash disbursement. Right. So is that reasonable? Is it an increase in time preparation, or is that something we can roll out automatically every month to council?
Yeah, definitely. No, because we do it and share it internally. So yeah, it's already done.
Oh, okay. So we just need to change the method of that is coming out. If you can just send it directly out or send it to, I think we discussed it coming directly, just emailed out to the council. Yeah, directly.
Okay.
Yeah. So going forward each month, just budget actuals, cash disbursement out to council, entire council as a whole. Okay.
Sounds great.
All right. Excellent. Councilmember Noble, I'm sorry, your hand was up.
This is my last question on this money, but that's my money. Money is my concern. We're talking about TD Bank, but also, are you going to bring back the comparison for the Maryland Local Government Investment Pool? Because I think that's your recommendation, but we need to see the side by side to determine what's best for this rainy day money. Please, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I do, thank you.
Okay, I think there's a couple of items that we need to get more information for on this. Councilmember Hines, do you have a question? Make sure we unmute you so the folks at home can hear you.
Can I just ask, okay, this resolution, how many votes does it take to pass this? Is it 4 or 5?
It's 4. But we're not voting tonight.
No, I know we're not, but I thought I read about it. Also, signatures, how many signatures would it take? What is it, 3 or 2? And, once it's done. I'm not understanding.
Well, could you, I don't understand your question. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How many, is it 2 or 3? Thank you.
Oh, okay. So this is a question about checks. No, well, I don't think so. Paper checks, no. Financial transactions happen through bill.com, but I'll let the treasurer and town administrator speaks and have insight into that. Chief
So-
Reese.
Yeah, so currently we do use the method of payment. We don't physically write checks. We use a service for bill.com, which does an electronic check or print on our behalf. So anything as far as the disbursements to the vendors has to at least come to myself. So what it does is we have a level of the department head will do it. Will issue an invoice, they will approve it, send and put whatever line item that it goes in. Then we will also have it to where is that it goes to the department head, then it checks with our accounts payable person. She'll check to make sure all of the documentation is there. If we have W-9s, if there's a resolution that needs to be attached to it, and then ultimately for payment, once all of the approval has happened, the payment actually goes through from Mr. Frankenfield after all checks and balances have been done.
Gentlemen,
Council President McDonald.
so is there an SOP for what you just described?
Yes, ma'am. So when we did last year, so one of the things that Mr. Frankenfield can actually talk about it, but as we've been going through the audits, there's been recommendations for things like that. I think we did this last year or maybe the year before for the SOPs for it. So that's what we're following now.
So I think that may be helpful to Council Hines.
Okay.
Because she had an inquiry and having an SOP probably in that, for that specific inquiry would be helpful.
Okay, we can get that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Councilmember Hines and Council President McDonald. Mr. Best, you wanted to add something?
Yes, in line with the council members' question. The charter was amended 2011, section 33-50 entitled checks. So it now reads, and I'll go through it quickly. All checks issued in payment of town obligations shall be signed by two persons who shall be designated from time to time by resolution of the council, provided that if the council shall fail to designate such persons, all checks shall be signed by the mayor and countersigned by the town administrator or town clerk. In either person's absence or incapacity, president of the council, or in his absence, a council member with the approval of the majority of council members may sign or countersign a check. The council may authorize by resolution the use of facsimile signatures or mechanically produced signatures on such checks, or may establish an alternate system whereby electronic payments of authorized purchases may be accomplished through banking institutions, provided written documentation is maintained. So that's the highest law of the town on checks. And that was CAR 0112. CAR 0112, and that was put in the charter effective 8/20/11. I'll look to see if there's a resolution that was established in an alternative system, but I'll do that offline.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Any other questions regarding resolution 04-25? Hearing none, we move to the next item on our agenda, which is resolution 07-25. And this is a resolution of the mayor and town council of Forsyth, Maryland, accepting a grant from the governor's office of crime control and prevention in the amount of $40,000, authorizing the chief of police to utilize said funds for surveillance equipment and the annual cost of license plate recognition services provided by Glock Group Incorporated. I move that we adopt resolution 07-25.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 07-25. Discussion. I'm familiar with this resolution a bit, but I'm going to let Chief Reese just explain the ins and outs and an overview.
Absolutely, Mayor. So in a nutshell, we apply for from the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention for basically a technology grant to do advanced technology in the departments in the state. So what I chose to do was to expand our license plate reader. system. And so, as you know, which we talked about before, we have license plate readers throughout the jurisdiction. And what I suggest to do is put it on the areas of the interests in the town that does not have it, to expand it. So with this contract, I mean, with the funds, what I'm planning to do is we are currently on, we want to pay our subscription. So we want to use the funds from the Governor Office of Crime Control and Prevention to pay fiscal year 26 ahead of time. And which our plan is about 25,000. And then we want to use the remaining funds to expand it, the ones that I just spoke about. And then, now the contract is only for 2 years. So basically virtually our first year payment will be what the 40,000 would take care of it. The next year payment, the town would have to pay out of the general funds is about $6,000 because of the $40,000 left over for fiscal year 27. That's what I propose to do for it. I did include in the reference sheet a town council staff report, so you can kind of see where the money's going and what fiscal year will be applied to. Also, with approving this grant, would also help Mr. Frankenfield to put that money into fiscal year 26. So we can move on with the budget. So we received it in October, around November, I'm sorry. And so we finally have a plan to use the funds. If I have any questions.
Thank you, Chief Reese. And to your last point, accepting the grant allows us to pay for some of the costs that would be experienced in FY26 using these funds. So it would be, and I'm going to have Mr. Frankenfield comment on this, but it would reduce the expenditure by that amount that's budgeted.
Yes, sir.
Because it would be covered by grant as opposed to paid from general funds. Mr. Frankenfield, did you want to add anything else there?
Yeah, just my question for the chief was, what are grant dates? Because I know, like, I've seen the invoice go out. So can we use our spending that we took out of the general fund in 25 is my question, instead of prepaying 26 to carry it over?
So that will be up to you. And how you would like to use those funds. So my thought was our annual payment to this company is November of each year. We just paid fiscal year 25 in November. So my thought would be to go ahead and prepay fiscal year 26 for this November. So we can decrease that line item in FY26 budget to save money for that year. And then use the remaining funds to see if we can even push it further to FY27 to try to decrease those lines. Because we already know that we have a obligation of about $25,000. I'm trying to lessen that for next year's budget. I bet if you want to use it for this year, now obviously we have to draw down on it. My only thing would be, Mr. Frankenfield, would be that we received that invoice before we actually got the grant. So I wanted to try to do a future invoice so we didn't have any priorities with it.
Thank you, Chief. Do you have anything else to add, Mr. Frankenfield?
No, I mean, I support whether we're using 25 spend or 26 spend. I 100% support the grant. I was just asking a clarifying question. The benefit of this grant is it takes general fund dollars out of the equation. Things we were already paying for, now the state's going to pay for us. So it's a win for the town, regardless of how it plays out. So yeah, I'm 100% in support.
Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield. I'm going to go to questions. Who was the first? Councilmember Brownson.
I just want to ask the question. We don't have the $40,000 yet, correct?
So what we normally do is we go into the portal or because I just request the funds. That's all so it's not matching or anything like that. All we do is just request the funds and then they go into the account that Mr. Frankville has. They do a sweep to the disbursement and we can pay.
Okay, so the FY 25 budget has already been approved and signed off and almost ending. So why would we want to go back and take that money and apply to 2025?
I don't. I want to apply to 26.
I think that's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Councilmember, who was next? Noble. Council President McDonald.
Yes. So I am looking at the award letter, Chief Reese,
Yes, ma'am.
and it says to carefully review all special conditions. What are those conditions that we should perhaps be paying attention to?
So those, so if you look throughout the, if you have it in front of you, so those are those are all of our grants from the governor's office, crime control and prevention. So basically it just, we have to do a reporting on it every quarter. I do that. There's also as far as we have to do a performance report, we have to do a sub-recipient capacity questionnaire. These are things that we normally do prior to. And so, and just to also, most of the special conditions for all of the grants that we have from the governor's office, it's the same. So once we do it for one, all we do is just submit it and it's good for all of the grants. So this is not our first grant this year, so it's already been done there.
Thank you, Council President McDonald. Any further question? Councilmember Noble.
My concern on the, this grants going forward, is this something we're getting annually or?
So this is the, now, this is the first year that they've ever did one like this. So basically, what we did was last year in the, General Assembly, we testified that we wanted more grants for technology and advancement for the police department. So this is the first year for that. Now, hopefully, with talking to, the manager for the GOCCP, this is something that he wants to continue. But that's why it's imperative that we do all of our performance reports and give them all of the actuals and how it's doing and everything. So that's all we do is write grants. So I don't see us not getting it, but obviously there's a risk because, you know, obviously what's going on in the state. That we're seeing it already that, you know, grant funds are going down. But the good thing about it is that the expansion is only, it's not locking us in, it's only for 2 years. So, hey, if it doesn't work if we don't have any money year 2, that's it. And it's not like we have an obligation to pay out a long contract for 5 years or something like that.
Okay, because the second part for me with safety and police, I know you're conscientious about the budget and saving money, and I appreciate that. But I want us to be realistic about what it takes to be safe in the town of Forest Heights. We may be saving over here because we do it this way, but are those the real numbers? You know, we should always, for safety, be in, this is what it takes. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. Council President McDonald.
So I'm just trying to get clarity on the award period. So this award period says,
We have to use it before the end of this fiscal.
It says September 30.
it says September 30,
2025.
2025.
Right.
I thought we said it wasn't in, I thought we said we didn't have the general funds for it.
No. So, let me. No, we're not trying to use the general.
Oh, okay.
So currently, the cameras that we have now, we currently have them. So we have an obligation to pay. So what I'm trying to do is pay it off with the grant prior to.
Okay.
So I've already requested the invoice from the company and everything saying that, hey, we have a possibility. So now all I'm gonna do is to submit it to the portal. We'll receive our funds and we don't have to worry about it for a year.
Understood. Thank you.
And I would also add that Chief and I discussed that it's a 2-year contract, so at the end of this period, we get to make a decision again about if we're continuing, if we have the funds
Correct.
to continue to pay, or if we expand, or what decisions we make. So we're making a 2-year period decision now based on the grant funding. Any other further questions regarding resolution 07-25? All right, hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Noble,
Yes.
Councilmember Hines, Councilmember Brownson,
Yes.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Council President McDonald,
Yes.
Mayor Lily,
Yes,
6 yeses. The vote is unanimous. The motion carries.
thank you, Madam Clerk.
Mayor,
That-
point of order.
Yes, Mr. Frankenfield.
I suggest we amend this resolution just to add the budget amendment language. This resolution hereby authorizes the treasurer to amend the fiscal year 25 budget to include these funds and appropriations.
Well, I don't think the council wants to apply it to the 25 budget. I think they want to apply it as it's stated in the resolution.
Okay, so just some feedback. I looked at dates while we were talking. So the grant runs from October 1st, 24 to September 30th, 25. We paid 25,000 in this fiscal year that would be eligible for this grant. So I
Oh.
suggest
Uh,
we bill that 25 from the 25 budget, the activity in fiscal year 25. I suggest we bill that 25,000 to this year's budget and we prepay for 15 for next year's contract. So my recommendation is that we run it all through fiscal year 25 and not fiscal year 26.
okay,
That was why I was asking. that.
so just a moment, everyone. So in this particular situation, it would be, so I think what Mr. Frankenfield provided was a point of information. And at this point, we've taken the vote, so the record will reflect that the resolution has passed. But we need a motion at this time to amend. Mr. Best, I believe we did this prior, so we need a motion to amend resolution 07-25 as it was approved. Is that correct?
You need a separate resolution.
We need a separate
amend a
resolution.
Prior approved
Okay,
resolution. So could be done tonight, but it has to be written out. It's paper.
Mr. Chief and Mr. Frankenfield, is it necessary for us to do it tonight, or can we take the time to prepare the resolution properly
We can bring it up. We can bring it to next meeting.
to the next meeting? Okay. Well, please, Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that council wishes to have a resolution prepared to amend resolution 07-25 or portions of it at the next meeting, which is to be held March 19th, 2025. Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield, for bringing that point up. Because I'm looking at the end date of the grant is 09/30/2025. So it's in FY 26, but it's within the first quarter, so it doesn't give us enough time to expend. So I understand that. We won't be invoiced by that time. Okay, thank you. All right, that concludes legislation. Are there any other questions or comments or points of information about this resolution before we move on? Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, a motion was made to amend portions of resolution 07-25 until the next meeting on 3/19/25. So do we need a vote?
Well, we'll procedurally just ask, since there's a motion to amend that resolution at the next meeting, is there a second, first of all?
A second.
It has been moved and seconded that at the next meeting, we amend the recently passed resolution 07-25 portions of it. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Okay. The next item on our agenda is department reports. We have a series of reports from the interim town administrator, the treasurer, police department, and public works.
Mr. Holland is online.
And due to time, we have Mr. Holland, who's the youth and community coordinator, joining us online. So if the council pleases, we'll actually let him give his report, which is part of the interim town administrator's report first. Mr. Holland.
Hello, good afternoon, Council and Mayor. How are you all?
Good evening.
Good
Hello, Mr.
evening.
Holland.
Hello. So I just wanted to first piggyback on a few things that were mentioned at the beginning of this meeting. Councilwoman Brownson, I know that you were speaking about the free lunch distribution. I was speaking with Ms. Joy Wright at Forest Heights. She's the resource liaison. Some parents have also had the same concerns. So we're meeting tomorrow along with Ms. Allison Miles, the mental health clinician, to try to gain a path forward on how we can make sure that school lunch is not disrupted should the school close down over the summer. Hopefully I can have more information about that in the middle of April as to May, when they actually post on the PGCPS sites the free distribution lunch sites. So hopefully I can have an answer and have that published in the newsletter come May, when we receive that information. Next, Council Women Noble, the grant season, it starts April 1st, and I'm going to try to have some type of place in the newsletter where we can have a barcode that people can scan and have a clear direct line to the grants that are available in the 2025-2026 school year. I know that there have been some organizations that have reneged on their contributions to the grant pool, but hopefully we still have enough that can provide our residents with a little bit of relief. And then I'm going to get into my report. We kicked it off with our Valentine's Day program. We toured the local elementary schools, meeting with faculty and students, and just touching bases with them, hearing their concerns. The police department, Ms. Sonora, Captain Forrester were integral in helping distribute the thousands of gift bags to the faculty and students. So I do want to give them a very public thank you for that. That was a huge help for us. DC United soccer team invited local young scholars out to engage in their pre-game ritual that takes place. They faced off against the Toronto FCs, and they were gifted, the students were gifted free merch and great seats, if I say so myself, and some food vouchers to make sure that they could enjoy the game as a whole. So huge thank you to DC United for looking out for our local young scholars. The PGCC SAGE program is a program aimed towards residents that are 60 plus, so they can take advantage of the free courses that are available at Prince George's Community College. Like Councilwoman Noble said earlier, the District 8 team has, I believe, $2 million in funds allocated towards anyone located within the 6-mile radius from the LDC funds to offer free tuition to all residents, no matter their age, no matter what credits they're looking to go after. So that will be really beneficial for any residents that want to pick up new trades. Or I know that myself and Chief Reese spoke about an introduction to technology course. They also offer that as well. So they can reach out to myself for any help on trying to get signed up for those courses. And to piggyback on what you said earlier, Council President McDonald, for the ride program, April 13th will be our launch date for our 2025 ride season. We have a youth and adult class. The youth class taking place April 13th, the adult class taking place April 26th. And as Council President McDonald said, every fourth Saturday following, we'll be having our trail rides hosted by Council President McDonald. So we're very excited for that, and the date should be posted and published in the April newsletter. And I'm open for any questions.
Well, timely. We'll go, I'll go Councilmember Noble and then Councilmember Brownson, then Council President McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Holland, for your report. We were in, Councilwoman Brownson and Mrs. Denny and myself, we were in, Ms. Rice's office last week. Talking about the garden. But, she said they have a site, I guess the public school system to post things. So we want to depend on our newsletter, but we also want to have other methods of reaching out. So with that in mind, if we could also share the information with her, because she has a greater outreach for the students and their
Absolutely.
parents.
I'm sorry, which school? I know there's two rights within the town of Forest Heights.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joy Wright at
Okay.
Forest Heights Elementary.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'll speak with her tomorrow, so I can definitely.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Just to piggyback, it's called Classroom Dojo or something like that.
Class Dojo, yes, sir.
And Class Dojo, they are, anything we do youth related, high school, elementary, middle, we need to send it to them because they'll get it directly to all the parents when sometimes people don't see stuff that we put in the newsletter. So anything youth related from now on, let's do Class Dojo and get it out early. Okay. We can send, I guess, anything from Class Dojo.
There's just
Okay.
a 30-day, I'm sorry, Mayor, there's just a 30-day notice that they ask us to give the schools to turn it into the school system to get approved before they can send it out en masse. Sometimes they give us an exception, but a lot of times they ask us to send it to the school board for approval.
Yes, so it's incumbent on us to pre-plan, to look at our calendar for the year, to have our flyers done early, and to do events that we plan well ahead so we can get them on Class Dojo. Council Member Brownson.
I just wanted to say something technical. I didn't see on this new agenda, the community outreach report is not listed. So I think we may need to go back and amend the agenda. Because we just spoke, so it's not.
It's under the interim town administrator.
Yeah, but it's not.
Council President McDonald.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Holland. It's good to hear from you this evening. A couple things. One is we were trying to get the mural done at the community garden, and we were once engaged, I guess, with the Arts and Humanities of Prince George's County. And I know that we had submitted the application or was moving forward with it. Some things happened, so I just wanted to follow up on that to see where we were, if there was an opportunity for us to consider it later or whatever the case might be. I'm just trying to find out where we were with that. Also, we had talked about engaging our youth to paint, or I guess do some arts and graphics with the garden beds. So I didn't know where we were with that as well. Thank you.
Yes, so the grant application that we put in in December of 2024, we kind of got it on the tail end of it, and we weren't able to deliver all of the requested documents in time for the closing window of the grant applications. I've since been trying to find another application or another grant opportunity that would align with the previous one. I know that when we came out and had the site surveyed, I believe they said it would be about a $20,000 project. So I'm trying to see which grants are available that we would fall under their criteria in order for us to have that granted. I haven't found one just yet, but I have also reached out to the D8 team to see if they had any leads on any grants. I'm also open to if anyone has any leads on grants that potentially cover these type of projects.
Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up is the hosting of the rides. So I'm thinking about, and maybe we could talk about this more offline, but perhaps putting the events, putting the events in Eventbrite so that we could reach a larger group of people or kids rather
Yes.
to participate.
Yes, the ones last year were in Eventbrite. WABA, part of our collaboration with WABA, they control the Eventbrite and registration.
No. I'm
Sorry.
speaking in terms of the rides that the town will be hosting.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, we can absolutely have them posted to Eventbrite. I'm sorry.
Yes. So the newsletter was good, but we didn't really get a whole lot of, I guess, response to that. So I'm thinking if we could use another communication tool to get it out, and maybe we'll get more people to participate. So that'll be, I guess, more we can talk about offline.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Of course.
Great points coming up, Council President McDonald. We recently were able to unlock our Constant Contact platform, and we have several hundred email addresses in there, according to Chief Reese and staff. And so I think I'm hearing from council, we want to be more intentional about getting the information out to people in as many ways as possible. So we cast a wide net, let as many residents as possible know, and give them the information and the places and the platforms where they're going to receive it easiest. So we heard Eventbrite. For the events that we do have, we need to have a platform where people can go register, get tickets, and then because they automatically will get reminded of the events coming up, and then it grows our list. So when we do another event, everyone who's registered for a past event can now be a person who we send the new notice for the new event. Then we can leverage our Constant Contact email database so that newsletter, announcements, information that's important for the community to have goes out to them. So we cast a wide net. And then obviously we do our physical media. We have text alerts. And are there any other mediums that I'm forgetting, Chief Reese?
So we have the just to go down just one more time. So we're gonna post our posting everything is on the new website, text, social, which includes X, Instagram, and Facebook. We have constant contact, and obviously the message board, and now Flash Dojo. So
Yeah.
I add another one in there.
Next door.
And next door. Yeah.
So okay.
It's a lot.
It takes a lot of effort. Okay. Well, I think we would like to see just recommendations on how we can do that repeatably. So for staff, it doesn't become a burden, but becomes something that's streamlined by having a checklist, and they know what's expected, and they all can also show us what they've done so we understand where it's gone back and forth, vice versa. Councilmember Bronson?
Yeah, I was gonna say that I noticed that when police department has an event, it goes out to some platform and they can get a lot of response, but when other departments or council people have events, it doesn't get the same broadcast. So I think there's a miscommunication there, or the word is not getting to all the platforms that it should, because I'll take for instance, the Ward 3 meeting. I don't think that went out on any platform other than putting out a flyer to people's next door. So some things they, whenever they're having something to get widespread publication, but when other council people or wards are having something, it doesn't get the same response.
Well, to this point, maybe I can save it. It's actually, is it in new business? No. Well, we'll just talk about it now. We did planning for the year, for the calendar. So we have a good idea of most of the events we're going to do for the year. What I think we should do next is share like a physical list of what those events are and when they are with the entire council, posted in the next meeting agenda so everyone's aware. And the other piece is, in order for events to get promoted and get a flyer and get advance notice. The event needs to have advance notice. So it usually is a minimum of 2 months. That allows for all the processes to go through. We check things and we know when we get scheduled and we have the staff dedicated, it gets into the newsletter. However, if we get the calendar out by next meeting, then that way, if there's any other items that someone would like to add, they can be added. And then we can also see all the things we're planning to have. And then we can get them into the pipeline for the flyer, for the text alerts, for the posting and all that.
I take the election, for instance. I didn't see it on any platforms, other than those signs and. So, I mean, if we know we have one every year, I mean, so that doesn't need to get, so those recurring things should be on those platforms as well.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the election. The election is on the platforms. It went out on all platforms. So the same sign that's posted around the community physically went out on all the social media platforms. Yeah, it went on Instagram. It went on Instagram, went on Facebook, and good question. Good question. Chief, can we recirculate some of the information about the election as we get up to the dates?
Yes, so it was posted on the 22nd of January, so it's still posted. That is Instagram. It went out all on the same day. Same day. So all of our platforms, text alerts. So with the mayor, what we discussed is when we have certain things for events, the checklist will make sure it goes out to everything. And to your point, like the mayor said before, like most of the police departments, we make our flyers at the beginning of the year. So like our trunk or treat, everything. And so what it helps is we actually have a system to where it's that because human error happens, we put the flyer already in there and it goes out automatically without us even doing anything. But we have to have it in advance so we can do that. And plus it takes time to even make a flyer and, to make the graphics and everything like that. So we don't have. Oh. So we can, so like the mayor said, we can, if we will send the calendar.
We had a similar conversation.
Yes.
Just to boil it on down, is what happened is all your thoughts and concerns were rising to the surface because we've been having these conversations behind the scenes. And what we're doing is it was part of the all hands we had with the staff at the first quarter. We talked through what are some of the areas that we have been doing really well, where are some areas we can improve, and then what does it look like to get us in a place where we're continually doing things with excellence and spreading the word as much as possible. So trust me, the administrative assistant has a checklist of things that we're getting into line. There are some past events, to your point as well. There's some past events that had happened that residents came to me and said, I didn't know about these, or it happened, I heard it was great. Like, do you have photos? So I started off by giving her a list of things we'd already done. Let's put those out so people can see that they happen. And then we're going to start filtering in our upcoming events so that we raise awareness and people can see and take part in all the wonderful things that we're experiencing in Forsyth. So thank you all. And which report are we on? That's interim town administrator. Do you have any updates or overview for your report?
I wanted Mr. Holland to make sure that he wanted some key things. I know the council wanted to hear from him. So I'm glad that he was able to voice some of the things that he was doing. But as far as this month, key things that I do want to point out that we've done is obviously the communication with Pepco. I know in the past that we've communicated with them of the outage of streetlights. So myself and Mr. Belnavis, we actually met with Pepco. I sent some things out to the council. Pepco has we have an opportunity to upgrade our streetlights to LED. Obviously there's a choice that we have to make. So I sent that to the Public Works Committee so they can kind of review it and they can talk among the council. But also DPW, what they did was they went out at night and they notated and reported every single street light that was out Also, Pepco provided us an actual map of all of the town of Forest Heights responsibility, our streetlights. So the notorious one was at Livingston Road and Comanche. We've been reporting that because it's right there by a crosswalk. So we reported it. We talked to them, and they're going to have a team out there to change the light. I learned about lights that more than I should. Some of the lights are motion, some of the lights are on a dusk to dawn, but now we have an interactive map that we have in our file that we can always point out to. So that was a big success for the town, so we can do that. And we're also doing is the project manager. If you haven't noticed, we have a new website. We had an upgrade to the town's website. That's what he's been working on. And there's going to be some more updates as we go on. One of those updates what we have is we're going to provide the link so residents are able to report streetlights straight to Pepco from our website. So, and it's not like they have to go to the pole. They literally, it's an interactive map. If they're if they're good with a computer, they can literally click the light next to the address and we can point it if it's out. Now, we're also going to put directions that some of our residents that cannot get on the computer, we're going to show them how they can report it. So that's walking up to the pole, showing a picture of the actual pole number and a phone number that they can call and report it to Pepco. So that's coming in the update of the website. But that was one of the biggest things that I wanted to point out for the report.
Thank you, Interim Town Administrator Chief Reese. Lots of good information. That streetlight program, that's going to be major. Yeah, that is. But it's good for us to have more local control impact on when they're out and understand where they are and make it easy for residents to report it, because we get a lot of calls, emails, texts about lights being out. We want them to be on because they're on. People can see, they feel safer. So we understand that. Councilmember Hines.
I just have a question, Chief. The way I understood it, that how, the summer camp was gonna be over at Forest Heights, so that's no longer, no?
Obviously we did have a conversation. I know the mayor met with Dr. Thompson over at Forest Heights Elementary for the summer. Now, if that part of the building is impacted for where we can host the summer camp, we're already in conversation with Ms. Stinson, the principal at Flintstone. So we're all ready for our contingency plan. Obviously we have to put in paperwork that has to go to the school board. So we're already getting that paperwork together now. We actually just had, after the meeting from the county granted us the 40,000 that you mentioned is, that we're having our meeting regarding that now. So just in case everybody knows, the POW spring break camp will be the 14th through the 17th of April, when the school is out. And obviously, we're having those meetings now, since the funds were approved. Obviously there's going to be a flyer and everything's going out in the sign. Now, we still have from last year, we still have all of that information from the parents and emails. So that's going to be a blast out to them. But it's good information that we can actually put it out to Clash Dojo. There is a limit. We're only, because the funds dramatically went down this year, but we are. So our contingency plan, to your comment, will be at Forest Heights. I'm sorry, Flintstone Elementary.
Council President McDonald.
Yeah, I wanted to circle back, I guess, to Mr. Holland, to ask if there was a backup plan for the nutrition program. If, it's a shortage, is there backup, a plan B in terms of reaching out to, restaurants or local businesses to see how they may be able to support?
For you talking about for the spring break?
For the spring, not for the spring break, for the school.
So that's what he mentioned. That's what his meeting is for tomorrow. So he's gonna meet and report back to us. So, we were having that conversation, so I believe that they were notified as well of the roof. So he has a meeting scheduled tomorrow. He's gonna report back to us.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief Reese. Thank you, Council President McDonald. Next, we'll go to the Treasurer's Report. If there are any questions for that report this month.
I feel like you want to. I don't want to. You do. You want to like the same.
Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the next report, Police Department. Councilmember Noble.
And this is not about the report, but we've been experiencing in the town a lot of solicitation. And I don't know how we can invest in signage as you enter the town, because we've had some people knocking on doors and putting residents in this fearful state. And with the elderly, my concern is that people may, these solicitors may take advantage of those people. So that's a safety measure that we need to really consider. Where can we post no solicitation?
Thank you for raising that,
Thank you.
Councilmember Noble. Chief Reese.
History, we used to have those signs at the entrance. And so yeah, so if it's if it's something that we need to upgrade, I will talk to Mr. Bernavis and we can put those back out or, repair them.
I think part of the problem is the folks who are soliciting, they're very aggressive and their incentive is to earn commissions. So they don't really all the time care. I get a lot of people come to my door. So I'm trying to figure out, maybe we think about a way we can make them aware, or that when they do go to someone's door, and we tell them they can't solicit, that they don't just continue knocking doors after that.
So Mayor, so what I would suggest is, what actually happened, last week, what I would suggest is if you see somebody soliciting, but there's also some other things that we also have to look at. And this, I learned this, last week too. If the homeowner invited them for information, they, per the ordinance, they can come to it. The issue is when they go door to door and when they're doing work in somebody else's house. So what I would suggest is if you see them and you see them going door to door or not, I would suggest call the police department. What we normally do, code enforcement, we inform them of the ordinance, or the police officer, code enforcement, doesn't matter. We inform them of the ordinance, and cause that's what I did. They were aggressive, but I think they understood my message. And so then they went on about their business. And so and what I explained to them is that, obviously with fraud and everything else, and the individuals that we encountered had no identification, no search, no anything. And so, and that's what I explained to them. So, but what I would suggest, everyone, the council and even the residents, everybody call me, let us know, because that's the only way that we can kind of drive it home, and then we can actually follow up. Because what code enforcement does is every time that he comes in contact with somebody, he puts it in the system. And if it's the second offense, we automatically write a municipal infraction. So. No.
Councilmember Brownson.
Absolutely. Right. So this is a notorious. So one of the issue is that he does not, sometimes at night, he doesn't move the tow truck. I mean, so he parks it at the gas station, and so every time we try to catch him, you know, it's always a problem with the police department, but we issue him a citation. But he doesn't keep it there that a long of a time. So, for example, he's the owner of the tow truck, sole owner. It's not a business. Um, he comes there, stays there for a few hours, and then he leaves. It's not staying there for a significant time. I've dealt with him countless hours. He has multiple citations. And so we will beef up the enforcement, but we are also looking at some of the other offenses that's in the town. If looking at, because our ordinance, if I'm understanding correctly, Attorney Best, that some of the, if it's over a gross vehicle weight that is considered a commercial vehicle, it may be some gray area in there. That's one of the things that we are planning to bring to the council to update as far as parking is concerned. But also the police department, what we are also doing is I'm exploring a system that keeps track of our parking citations. What we currently do now is when we have a parking citation, it's on carbon copy. So that the next police officer doesn't know that you just issued one because it's on carbon copy. The issue that we're running into is that when we go to some of the companies for a parking program, it's a huge upfront cost. And that's why we're exploring. I have the police clerk, she's calling over to other municipalities to see what they're using. And we're not alone, because a lot of people are trying to go to a system that kind of tracks the offenses. And so, but as far as this offense, we will talk to him again. And I will do that myself, and just to inform him, because I know, because they have a tiny split from two driveways, and it may be protruding just a little bit. But I understand, and but I will drive it home.
Oh, Councilmember Bronson, just unmute your mic there.
With all this parking violations and citations, is there some way where we can raise the fees and make it more of a deterrent so people won't? Is there something we can do to strengthen the enforcement?
Well, absolutely. I believe also in our ordinance that we do, per our ordinance, we can bring fees and fines to the council from time to time to be updated. We can do that at any time. I believe for that particular citation, it's $75. It's been, I believe, that amount for quite some time now. We can look into that. I can bring it to I'll provide the fee sheet and provide it to you guys, and you can have comment. And if we have to update the ordinance, we can do that as well.
Especially for the repeat offenders. Because they're just gonna move it and come back and move it and come back.
So I believe that, I think Attorney Best, that's something we can do an approach to say if it's like a second offense that we can update the ordinance. And obviously, I think they're doing that across the board throughout the state, even with speed cameras and things like that. So it may be time to us to take a look at that. So we can do that. I can, let me give you we can have that to the council. What I'm gonna do is provide you guys the fee list, and you can provide comment, and if we have to do something, we can do something next month.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson and Chief Reese. Mr. Best.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is it one of those flatbed trucks? It's a tow truck?
Crane.
Right. It doesn't, these are classes of trucks that are used for various specific reasons. they can be banned. You can basically outlaw on a residential street, a certain class of truck and just make it clear, crystal clear that you cannot park at any time on one of these streets that are municipally owned. A certain type or description of truck.
Let me ask this question. So is it council's thought or what you've heard from residents, has it been about the truck or is it about the truck blocking the driveway? Okay.
Now there is, if you will, Mayor, there is a gray area. So I've been dealing with this for quite some time. So obviously passenger vehicles, yes. But then it was like the work vans that has the commercial lettering and things. So my suggestion is let's just take the month of March. Let's look at the parking ordinance. It was Article 15.7. I know it. What we can do is let's do that, provide comment, and we can update it as needed. I'll send that out tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Best. Chief Reese, Councilmember Noble.
My concern with the issues in the town as it relates to parking vehicles and commercial vehicles is that it's this cycle that we have to somewhere intersect. Because when a person purchases a home who does not know that they're in a municipality and they don't know that there's a charter and ordinances, now you have a mortgage, now you tell me I can't bring my vehicle and that's why I bought this home. What do I do? Because now I can't make a living because now I can't pay for the mortgage. So it's greater than, now those who've been here for a while, they know it, but we have more homes for sale and we do see a lot of commercial vehicles coming into the town. And again, I go back to when we had another code enforcement officer who suggested in District Heights, they have I don't know if it's an ordinance or it's, if someone comes in to sell a house, the real estate broker, they have to register. So therefore, when you sell this person a house, you let them know as the agent that this is a municipality. That's not being done. Half the people in town, they don't know they live in a municipality, at least a quarter of it.
But that is on the application for a loan there, whether it's a municipality or something else. That's on the loan when you buy a house. But if the renters are not, that I don't know.
But even on the loan, that it still doesn't register what is a municipality, because they could put Oxon Hill, that's not a municipality. And it still comes up 20745. So it's just a bigger issue.
I put down, how do we inform new residents about municipal rules and benefits? But you said that there's a method that District Heights was using where
For
they were
agents.
registering for agents and they were registering it with the city.
Right. So the broker or the agent to sell the house, they would register and they would pay a permit fee, right? Some kind of fee. So, and in that, and then, because now we know, so if they get the permit, then we give them, here's the charter, or here is the website to get to the charter and the ordinances, and this is part of the process.
Interesting. Council President McDonald.
I think it goes back also to what we were talking about in terms of real estate agents putting their signs in yards. To me, that's also an introduction to that relationship between the town and the realtor. I personally give them welcome packages, and anybody who I know moves into Ward 1, I introduce myself and I give them a welcome package. I also let them know that they can, I can take them to the municipal center here and introduce them to people so that they can get acclimated a little bit. So that's just one small way of, getting, people, involved as well. I also wanted to ask, Attorney Best about the email that went out from Leslie regarding the fines. Does this all tie into that, Attorney Best, with the response you sent me regarding the fines going from 1,000 to $5,000 municipal fines? You recall?
It's tangent, it's distantly related.
Okay.
The bill that you talked about, the Senate bill,
Mm-hmm.
the General Assembly of Maryland has limited municipal fines for misdemeanors and municipal infractions to no more than $1,000. So that's been the law for probably a quarter of a century. So now they're talking about increasing the amount because they want to be able to help municipalities enforce the law. So make bigger bites budget having a higher level. So that's what they're talking about changing. But you still have limitations in your charter. So if the state says you can have a $5,000 fine for municipal infraction, your charter still limits it to 1,000. You have to change your charter to take advantage of the states doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could say as well, there's another way to skin the cat with this whole thing. Because the issue was, we have a type of truck or a wrecker, if you will, in the town that the owner is skirting the law and he's constantly coming back and violating the law. You can ban that type of truck described in the ordinance and ban it in its entirety on the residential streets. But you can allow a variation from the town, and their livelihood is threatened by not being able to use their truck. They could apply to make a special request and have either the chief of police or the council itself approve what's called a variance or a variation to allow them to have the truck, even though it doesn't strictly comply with the ordinance. So there's always another legal way to get around doing things. I would suggest that if this has been going on for months and years, that you describe this truck in the law and ban it in its entirety, so that you can put a stop to this, stop wasting man hours on it.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Any other questions for the police department report? We've had healthy discussion tonight on a number of items. This mic is very strong. I apologize to those at home. All right, next we'll move to the Public Works report. And I will actually submit an item here. It's related to what's actually a question. And actually, this maybe is really police. It may be Public Works / police. Chief, I know that we have, I don't know, I'm asking this question actually, for signage that people illegally place like on stop signs or at to post, light posts, lamp posts that are within the town or on Livingston Road or areas that abut the town. What impact can we have on removing the signs? And I read in the charter, I believe, or at least on the state's website, that a municipality can remove signs and they can also fine people or businesses that continually place the signs because they distract from stop signs or traffic control devices that are about safety. And it also happens to be blight in the town. We see signs and people, we just want to our point, make the town cleaner, more beautiful, controlled, and more less filled with miscellaneous items that we're not trying to have up in the town.
If I may, Madam
Yes, sir.
Mayor, let me answer that question. Let's see. Around 2010, the General Assembly passed a law. Says that a municipality can adopt an ordinance that forbids the posting of commercial signage in a state highway right of way And if a municipality finds a sign posted by a commercial entity in a state right of way within the corporate limits of a municipality, it can summarily, without having any type of hearing or anything, just send a bill, an invoice to the violator. But you can't send it to a church or to a private individual. They're exempt. But if it's a commercial entity, say we buy cars, dial 1-800-X, blah, blah, blah. That's a violation. And the law allows you to send like a $50 or $100 bill. Now, I put that in the code of ordinances. I wrote that ordinance something like 10 years ago. I don't think it was ever used by the town. To my knowledge, I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief. It's not, and it needs to be looked at again to see if the state revised the enabling statute for that. And they may have increased the amount of money you charge. I just don't know if it's been dormant all these years.
When I looked it up, I can't recall the amounts. I don't think they were above what you stated, but it's definitely worth a look to see. I think the council would agree. We want to enforce that
Now, that's
because,
only for the state highway right away.
okay, state
All
highway,
the other right of ways that are the Livingston Road, which is the county,
county.
and the streets that have a Native American name that are town-owned streets or town-maintained streets. Those you can have as robust an ordinance if you want that prohibits and fines up to $1,000, either by way of municipal infraction or misdemeanor. Anyone that posts handbills or other signs, whether they're private entities or churches or commercial businesses. Sky's the limit on how you regulate those, but on the state highway, it's a little different matter.
Well, if it pleases the council, I'd like to see us start enforcing that. But Chief, is there bandwidth to do so?
So what we do what we do in the past is Public Works would just take the sign down and they would discard it if it's in our right of way. Now, the other issues, now we have done it in the past, and tell you what happens. We take it down, they end up coming to the police department and we explain the ordinances, and then they were like, well, what about that sign right there? Why didn't we do nothing about that sign? And most of the time it's like an election sign or something like that. And so so for the police, I'm just giving you raw data. We're like, you're right. But, and so because when we look into the state, I believe that the state requires that you to get a permit and different things of that nature. And so we understand and we'll get back to you. So, but yes, we can let us research, and I'm just telling you that's exactly who it is, because they pay, that's not the owners, they pay people just to put them out there. But when we take 50 of their signs down, they come knocking on our door and then they're ready to point fingers. And so we can look at that as well.
So I think those who are not in compliance are willing to come into compliance after March 12th. But and furthermore, to remain in compliance. However, I think we want to set the tone for people.
Absolutely.
Signs go up. Not only will the sign get taken down, you will be fined.
Okay.
You'll be fined. You will be fined because we don't want the signs to come back. And the other thing is that some of the entities are not, some of the entities are purporting to do one thing, they do another. And they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not legitimate. They're not legitimate all the time, even if they are a registered business entity. So we want to limit that as much as possible and create a penalty for doing so. That helps Forest Heights, but it also helps the areas that surround and touch, and it sets the tone. And it helps to beautify. The less people see the signs, the less the trash goes out the door and all these other items. So it's like a snowball effect in the positive direction, I believe. I think council would as well. Councilmember Noble.
Yes. I think for the most part, within the town, on our streets, when we see signs, I know I reported that, want to teach somebody how to use a gun, want to, just those kind of things. within, we have the capability just to remove it. Now, the other part requires some. Well, I'll remove it if I can, but yes.
Public Works.
Public work.
Yeah.
Well, that's if somebody's.
Well, so on the matter of the town, in the town, we can remove them. We don't, as a courtesy, normally we don't issue fines for those because it tends to be someone who lives in the town and maybe is not aware of the fact that they can't place the sign. Am I correct?
Well,
You see signs that are not like yard sale
it's
signs, they're
not-
like
no, I don't
businesses.
mean like yard sales, it's truly someone from out coming in. And the previous interim town administrator, we had discussions about that because as soon as you come down maybe Seneca, you see there's a sign for something not even related to anything in the town. Like we buy junk cars, it's no one in the town.
So we need to explore enforcement of the fine for signs that are within the town's municipal bounds and on some of the state highways and county roadways as well. Is that what we're? Okay, Mr. Best.
I just want to point out there's some delicacies to this. There's some issues. One, there are exceptions in state law that governs even municipal rights of way, realtors. There might be some issue with election signs. You all have pretty strict election sign posting requirement. But you're going to need to be aware of that because there are exceptions. The public policy in the state allows certain signs to go in the rights of way, but most others no. And then they also need the enforcement officer needs to know where the right of way boundary ends. So because if you're telling someone that's putting a sign right on the edge of the private property line, there could be some issue there. But all in all, that's not permitted either to put a sign on someone's private property like that.
So maybe it sounds like it's similar to the parking vehicle discussion. We need to have some items come back before us to consider the impact, the enforceability, and then we will be able to
I think
figure out where we can do it would make
the
sense.
enforcer needs to know how to use PG Atlas and put the overlay, know where the right of way starts and begins. As part of that, that's training that's really important.
All right. Well, thank you. Any other questions for Public Works report? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into new business. We have a number of items under new business tonight. And the first one is the MML Summer Conference. To help us prepare for logistics and funding, make sure we have enough funding for those who want to go, and to do registration. Just want to find out which members of the council are planning to go to the summer conference for MML this year. Councilmember Noble. Sure.
Mayor, when we were in a meeting, the engagement MML and opportunities, they're having a special MML conference package. So they're offering like one day only or two can go for one for like new council members or whatever. So the clerk may, and it's a deadline for that. I can't remember, but I know it's this month to know. So that may be, maybe someone doesn't want to go for the full 20 days.
Is there something you can send us with that information?
I'll see if they sent the presentation. I'll check with Sharon.
Okay, and and also, Ms. Chisholm, if you can reach out to, do you have a contact at MML? Currently, no.
Sharon Easton.
Is it Felicia?
No, okay, so what I'll do is I'll share Sharon Easton's information with you, and then that way you can facilitate getting that. And so now for council, just be thinking about if you're planning to go for the whole time, if you just want to pop in for a day. And so we can, I know the early bird registration date, I think is coming up soon, like the deadline to get the reduced rate. So let's just get an initial response of whether you're planning to go, if so, for how long, to the clerk between now and next meeting.
So when we went to, I don't know who was to the fall conference. Anybody go to the fall conference? It was company who come to the last year. And they had if you pre-registered early, or if you signed up early, they were giving a discount. the
That's for
conference.
the winter conference. That's for the fall conference. It'll be in Western Maryland. I think it's gonna be in Garrett County this year.
Signed up.
Wisp is it's like a resort it's gonna be at. So those of you who like to ski or winter weather, I think Deep Creek sounds about right in Garrett County. So it was the So next item on the report or under new business is draft capital improvement plan. This is an initial document that includes projects in the town that staff has identified for improvements. So roadway improvements, stormwater projects. It includes the property at 5529, which was originally purchased by the town to be a feature police station. And so this is just a document to help us gather in one place all the needs of the town that we believe we need to budget for, get grant funding for. As we get into strategic planning, we hope that we can decide which projects will be priority, or which ones we'll take from this list rather, and move forward. So if you could take time to look through this between now and next meeting, if you have suggestions for projects that are missing, let us know. The draft plan. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Brownson, you may not have received it. It was provided after as an update. So I had some issues printing, as I mentioned to you, but I'll make sure you get a copy. So
And the other reason that it's in here is because Chief Reese, do you have an update about the there was a request. I'm sorry. It was we have an opportunity to submit a grant request through Senator Van Hollen's office for community project or community funded projects or earmarks through the federal government. And that deadline is coming up very soon. And so we need to decide which project will be submitted. This plan has some of the projects that have been categorized or that have been detailed. The submission that we were thinking about was the project that came last year, which is on Onondaga. Once you drive down to Cumsted, it turns into Onondaga, a very sharp right turn and then a left. There is water that's spilling over that drain, which is not functioning properly. And then it's flowing into the backyards of a number of houses on Cree Drive, weakening the soil and then also some of the retaining walls that are behind those homes. So that is a project that we think has already been scoped, and some council members have visited the site. And it is large enough that it makes sense to ask, but it's small enough that we think we can get the full funding amount awarded. And there's some paperwork, so we could turn it in by March 7th, I believe, or I'm sorry, March 5th, I believe is the deadline when we need to get everything in. Yeah. So that stuff has been done. We just need to submit the project. So that's the one that staff and we were recommending to go with. Anything else, anything I said incorrect, Chief?
No, sir. So we looked at it to where it's that will be the project that that impacts a lot of residents. We visited the back of those homes and their backyards are eroding. So that's gonna cost a lot. And so when the project manager bought it, so that was one of the mayor's suggestion. And so we wanted to bring it to you guys. So we believe that we are no stormwater management on the other streets, but that particular one needs to be addressed. Those are what the residents are complaining about. On at least it impacts Onondaga, Cree Drive, what is that, Woodland, the homes right there. So it impacts a lot.
Yeah, to Chief's point, we did a tour of homes on Cree Drive back in over a year ago. And we took the Department of Public Works and the interim town administrator at the time, and the yards were so wet, it was like you were stepping in just puddles of mud. There's a lady who lives, at least one house I visited, she can't even cut her backyard because it just stays moist, soaked all summer long. So we'll, with council consent, submit this project for approval, or this project for consideration for the senator's community funding projects for this year. And also, but like I said, you all forgive me. This is what happens, you don't eat. The draft capital improvement plan, though, also needs just your feedback still about making sure that it represents all the projects that we need to have attention on in the town. Because what we'll do is after we've had feedback from council, we'll go back with staff and then we'll bring back a full plan that we want to pass by resolution. All right, next on our agenda, we have I guess those two went together. All right, last item under new business, we have English, Spanish language classes as community programming. The image that we showed earlier was at Forsyth Elementary, and they are trying to begin offering English language classes to some of their families that attend the school, but they only do it once a month. And based on what we found out, in order to start learning a language, you need to be immersed. You need more time and more exposure. And then we've also heard that not only folks wanting to learn English, but there are some residents in town who would like to learn Spanish. And so there's an opportunity for us to, on the weekends, perhaps a Saturday or Sunday, provide regular programming during the month where we offer classes for residents to come together and learn together. And so there's going to be a resolution coming forth soon. The town was awarded project charges through Maryland National Capital Park and Planning for youth and community engagement programming. I'm not going to say the amount because I don't know, but we'll have the resolution to accept those funds. This is one of the items that we could potentially consider funding to provide service to the community, to build community, to help those people who are wanting to learn English work towards their citizenship, and also other residents who want to learn Spanish. Is there any comment, suggestion, thoughts on that proposal from council? What was that, Councilmember Little? Any other new business for tonight? Okay, well, the time is now 9:49 and this meeting is adjourned. Good night. Good night.